So far, the drive to stretch that to a Sweet 16 has been littered with racing deals. Deals from a driver's and owner's standpoint, and Rudd wears both hats. How those hats have affected his quest to extend his streak, and why this season has been such a struggle, as Ricky Rudd takes the wheel with Dr. Jerry Punch in the driver's seat.
I got to ask you, people are asking, 1998, what's wrong with Ricky Rudd? But truth be known, Ricky, and you guys haven't complained, you haven't whined, you haven't cried, but a lot of things have happened to this team from the very beginning of this season.
The bottom line is we just weren't prepared when the season started. We had, and I don't like talking bad about the previous leadership we had here, but we just weren't getting the job done. It was time to make some changes. Bill Engel became available shortly after Daytona, and it was around the Las Vegas race when Bill stepped in. And Bill probably has more pressure on him than he needs to have on him. Steps into the program, cars already built, trying to get cars changed around and built. And it's been a tremendously hectic schedule for everybody this year. We're starting to get into some racetracks that are good for us. Our problem is we're having to go to the racetrack because we only are allowed 7 test dates as a single-car team. We're going to racetracks with cars that we've never tested or raced before, and we expect great things from them, but we really don't know when we come off the truck what to expect. We hope for good things, but we could end up being very slow.
You mentioned the single-car team. Obviously, here in the mid to late 90s, the pressures are immense to do something about that. As an owner and as a driver, you know, how do you weigh the issues and what you're going to have to do?
Well, it's a tough issue. I never got into this sport wanting to be part of big business. I saw the opportunity when I started this team that you could be a small, very efficient race team and you could win races and a shot at a championship. But I'm facing right now that the future of this team right now, the future is not bright unless we form another team, merge with an existing team, sell out to an existing team, expand. So we're looking at the most efficient way to do that right now. We haven't come up with an answer. My number one choice will be to form a second team and expand, add a driver and run a full season next year. But we're having a little difficult time. We waited late in the season to make that decision. Sponsorships, it will have to happen by July 31st for it to take place for next year.
I got to ask you about the streak. Remarkable, as competitive as this sport is, that you have won at least one race a year for 15 consecutive years, dating back to 1983. Is that, I mean, that's got to be a point of pride, but is it also a point that maybe that can cause a little bit of a distraction, a little bit of a focus problem, or do you worry about it?
Well, I worry about it in the sense that it is a record that if we can win this year, it breaks all the modern records, I think. Right now I'm tied with maybe Earnhardt. If we, for some reason, go away and don't win this year, we're tied with Earnhardt, which is not bad company, but I've always been, whatever I'm in, I want to succeed at. I want to be better than the next guy. So it would be nice to have the modern all-time record of making it 15, 16 years in a row. To me, that's an extra incentive to go out there and work that much harder to try to get to victory lane. I think about that a lot.
Will he make a move? He cannot do it. Ricky Rudd wins the 4th Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis.
Speaking of pride, I've got to mention that remarkable run last year at the Brickyard. What an effort.
Well, it really was a high point. I mean, really, our operation, we're not supposed to win the big races like that. You know, that's supposed to be for the Penske, the Yates, and Childresses and those guys to win those races. So to me, to be able to walk in there, to me it's the biggest race or second biggest race, however you want to categorize it, it's a big race. Money-wise, it's the biggest. To walk in there and to be able to walk out of there with, your name on that silver cup that stays in the museum. Forget the money side of it for right now, just to be able to walk out of there knowing that you've kind of put your mark on that trophy, and one day you get old and gray, and well, I can't say that because I'm getting old and I'm gray now, but one day when you're in that wheelchair, maybe being wheeled around in a nursing home, that you can ride in there and look at your name on that trophy. To me, that says it all.